Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Abby. I'm with Fitness is Medicine. Today we're going to do another great workout you can do in your home with minimal equipment. And we're going to start off with a horizontal lat pull. So able to do the lats with your band a little bit lower. It's hard sometimes at home to have a high enough space. And this is another way to work those large muscles in your back. We're going to start with that. Make sure you come into these workouts warmed up and ready to go. And we will get started over here. So we're going to have our band in the a doorway here that's about chest height, maybe a little lower. So I've got handles here. What you're going to do is come into a little bit of a squat and then lean your back forward. Now notice that my back is flat here. I'm not rounded like this. This isn't very good for your posture, first of all, but this way you're able to really access those muscles, those large muscles in your back. Okay, so we're leaning forward. Take a deep breath. Pull down towards your armpits. So you're driving your elbows towards the back of the wall. If this is a hard position for you to be in, you can also do this seated. So I'll show you on a ball how I can do this. You still have your back nice and tall, and then it's easier to perform if doing that standing squat is a little bit difficult for you. Leaning forward, so you're really pulling down, just like if you were sitting up, you'd be pulling down like this. Let's do 2 more, and 10, good. Okay, so remember, you want to go slowly both directions with those. If standing in the squat is too hard, have a seat either on a ball or on a sturdy chair to give you that support that you need. Okay, next, I'll move this back over here. We're going to do sit to stand. So I always like sit to stand as a good squat. Remember to stagger your feet so that you can get a good balance. If you have trouble with sit to stand, move forward towards the edge of your chair. Because when you're sitting back here, it's really hard to transfer your weight from back here all the way out to your feet. So you really have to get your momentum going. So if you scoot towards the edge of the chair, stagger your feet, and then if you need to, you can push off the edges, like if you have a handled chair, or you can push off the seat, stand up nice and tall, scoot over just a little bit. If you can, do it without hanging on. Nice and slowly, both directions, keeping your torso up nice and tall. Remember, if your feet are staggered, one is a little bit back, one is a little bit forward, it's easy to transfer that weight. You're not having to transfer it way back to way forward. You're just kind of going up. So using those quads. And then you can also switch your feet and see which foot in front and which foot behind feels a little better. If you have a little bit of knee pain in one knee, sometimes putting that knee that has a little bit of pain is the one that's back, and then the other one's forward. That can be a way to alleviate a little bit of knee pain if you're having trouble with that, standing up and sitting down. Keep breathing. 9 and 10. The other thing you can do is standing up and sitting down is difficult for you. You can start by doing mini squats, say by sitting at the kitchen sink or using a sturdy object like this. So going like you're going to sit down in a chair, and that's the key movement, is moving your hips backwards so that you're using those glutes, you're putting your joints in the correct motion. So if you have trouble with that, start by doing mini squats. So go back to about here, squeeze those glutes, stand back up. So you can kind of start wherever you may be feeling strong and good about that movement. Okay, next we're going to do biceps into shoulder press, which we've done in the past, but I'm going to have you do an opposite shoulder press. So grab a little bit less weight than you might normally. So if you can, let's do this in a little bit of a tandem stance, one foot right in front of the other. If not, get your feet shoulder width apart, give yourself a good balance. We're going to do biceps curls and then straight up like this. So what it's going to look like, you're not going to turn the weight around for that normal shoulder press that we do. So we're going to go biceps and then straight up like this. So I'm not actually pressing up super high, but I'm still working the front of those shoulders. Breathe. Let those arms go all the way straight on the bottom of that biceps. Curl up. Keeping those palms facing towards you as you press up. So like I said, you'll want a little bit less weight than you might normally for, the typical biceps shoulder press. You'll want a little bit less weight for this one because this is a little bit more challenging in this position. I think this is 9 and 10 and 10. All right, good. Now make sure when you set those down, you use good form. Set them down by bending your knees, or by, if you do have a rack, make sure you put one foot forward and then set them down to help transfer that weight, because if you transfer them from out here, you can put some pressure on your back. Okay, next we're going to do mountain climbers, and this is great to do either on a higher surface like, like your treadmill like this, or a bench. You can do them on the floor. I'm going to show you by using my chair here, because my bench is all the way over there and I've got my chair out already. But this is great, like a coffee table is a great place to do these. Of course, you are welcome to do them on the floor if you know that you can do them. But you're starting in a plank, regardless of where you are. If you're on a bench, if you're at the kitchen counter, if you're on the floor, we're starting in a plank. You want your shoulders directly over your hands. A common mistake is to kind of be back like this, and that is much harder, and it can put some undue pressure in your shoulders. So starting in that plank, you're gonna drive one knee forward at a time. Four. We're gonna do it 5 times or 10 times on each leg. So holding that plank, keeping a nice straight line from the top of your head down through your heels, keeping your hips flat. Keep breathing. 10 and 10. Good, and then you can step 1 foot forward and stand up. Great, mountain climbers. Okay, now grab either, you can sit on a bow or you can sit on a sturdy chair of some sort. I'm going to adjust my camera back over here. And we're going to do a knee and arm squeeze. So doing a knee squeeze, working on those adductors, strengthening those hips, and then an arm squeeze as well. So you can kind of use anything for these. Pillows, like a throw pillow works great. I'm using my foam roller, and if you just have a large foam roller, you could use, they're usually a little taller. You could squeeze that both with your arms. I'm just going to use this soft ball. Lots of different things will work here. So you're just going to squeeze your knees and then squeeze your arms. Hold it for a count of 3 or 4 and release. Keep those shoulders down. Squeeze and release. Now this is getting your pelvic floor, your hip stabilizers, and then you're getting your pecs here and lots of muscles through your hands and arms. And then when you do them together, you're getting some core as well. So you really want to focus on staying nice and tall, and then squeeze those knees, squeeze those arms, and you can control here. Sometimes I have people say, oh, it hurts my hands or it hurts my elbows a little. You don't have to squeeze it that hard. You can kind of control how hard you're squeezing it so that you don't feel like you're hurting. You could squeeze once with your fingertips and then once with your palms. Get a little finger exercise here as well. Sitting nice and tall. Don't let those shoulders creep up while you're doing this. This one can be surprisingly challenging. Same thing with your knees. Squeeze it. to where it's a comfortable squeeze and you can feel like you're working in your adductors here, but don't squeeze it so hard you're hurting your knee or you're hurting your hip or something like that. So let's do 2 more. Breathe. Last one. Okay, good. All right. Working on some stabilizers there. Okay, so the last one, I'm gonna have you pick up a little bit heavier weight. I'm gonna use a kettlebell for this, but if you don't have a kettlebell, you can use a heavier dumbbell. You could use a gallon of water. You could use, you know, a bag of groceries is the prime example where we would use this, but we're gonna do the farmer carry. So, or weighted carry, sometimes they're called something different. But when you pick up your heavy weight, bend your knees, bend your hips, and we're gonna hold one weight on one side of your body. So all I want you to do is take that weight, set your shoulders, kind of pull your shoulders back, down, stand nice and tall and level. So once you have a weight in one hand, the typical movement is to kind of do this and kind of hike it up. So if you're carrying a watering can or a heavy bucket or something like this, it's really common to see people kind of walk like this. So my challenge to you is to hold it level, engage your core. This is actually a huge core exercise in addition to your hips and hamstrings, but staying stable and walking. So all you're going to do is walk with that heavy weight, really focusing on staying level, staying stable, staying tight through that core, because that's what's really holding you and not letting you do this. This is where you're substituting and you're going to hurt your shoulder. You want to really stay level, even though you've just got that heavy weight in one side. And if you're not feeling this, if you feel like this is really super easy, try a heavier weight, because this is actually pretty challenging if you have a heavy enough weight. So after you've walked back and forth for 30 seconds or a minute, switch arms. Again, get level. Make sure your shoulders are level. You could walk into a bathroom and check your shoulders, make sure you're level. And then same thing, walk back and forth. You could walk out into the hall, walk back into your bathroom, make sure you're still level. You could, you know, if you have a big picture window and you can see your reflection, that's another good way to see if you're staying level. Once you start to feel tired through here, try to go a little bit longer. Really make those obliques work, make those muscles work. And this will help you from injuring your back and your shoulder when you are carrying heavy things, like generally day-to-day it's groceries, but it could also be watering cans, like I said, especially this time of year with all of our gardens and flowers. Walk back and forth. And then importantly, when you go to set that down, bend your knees, bend your hips, set it down in between your feet. Okay, that's it for today. So try to go through those 2 or 3 times total. If you can only get through it once and you're feeling pretty tired, then just do it once, but know that you did something and you're doing a lot of really good strengthening and stabilizing for your body. Okay, like I said, try to go through them 2 or 3 times total, follow with good stretching at the end, and make sure you're drinking a lot of water. All right, keep moving everyone. Thank you so much.